Hey everyone, it's Amber. Good morning. Oh goodness. I just left the gym a little while ago and made myself some breakfast, so you'll have to forgive me. But I wanted to let y'all know about my PGD consult that I had. They called me last week on Thursday, to go ahead and get that scheduled, and sorry, coffee. So they called me Thursday and we scheduled it for Friday morning, which Jason had he had 2 procedures already scheduled for Friday morning for the specific things that he has that are the reason why we even need the genetic testing. So it was kind of perfect timing, really, that while he was in there getting his procedures done, I was on the phone with Cooper Genomics about getting the PGD and PGS testing completed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just share with you. I was able to use Jason's phone to record the phone call with Cooper, and so I'll go ahead and I will play that now.
Okay, so we have our scheduled call this morning. Is Jason able to make it as well, or is it just the 2 of us?
It'll just be the 2 of us. He's actually getting a procedure done for the exact reason that we need you guys. So,
okay.
Irony,
okay.
right?
Yeah. We have an order from your clinic. They have requested to do PGD, so that's a transplantation genetic diagnosis test. So the PGD is for the inherited disorders. In this case, we have 2. So there's BRCA2 and familial adenomatous polyposis, so FAP. They've also requested chromosome screening, which will take an assessment of the chromosome material in a sample for the amount of chromosome material. So if there's too much, such as extra chromosomes, too little, missing chromosomes, or large pieces of chromosomes added or missing. So we've been asked to do both of those tests. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'll go over the PGD stuff first here. So we have Jason's record. Bit unusual for somebody to have two major disorders, cancer mutation-wise. Is there a family history,
yes,
or personal history for Jason of both of these, or?
Yeah, so his dad has both the FAP and the BRCA2 mutations. That's the reason we knew to look for the BRCA2. He had some testing done, and so Jason has the exact same mutations that his dad has. And Jason has one other sibling, a brother, and he, I don't know for sure if he has the BRCA2. I believe he does, but I know for a fact he definitely has the FAP as well. And then Jason's paternal grandmother, who is deceased, it was believed that she had those, and so they have like the genetic component that keeps getting passed down.
Just asking a lot of questions here about family history and who has had testing and that sort of thing, because we do something called linkage analysis. And I'm not sure if your clinic has explained sort of the overview of PGD2, but we follow genes through generations as our way of identifying the genes for when we test the embryo samples.
Okay.
So the way we do that is through something called markers. Markers are benign genetic changes that we all have throughout all of our genes and chromosomes. Both copies of the genes that Jason carries have markers, just like yours, but the family history is not on your side, so we're not really worried about the markers you have.
Right.
And the markers would identify which copy of the gene he got from his mom and which copy of the gene he got from his dad, which is essential information for us here. So when we compare Jason's DNA to his parents, we're able to then figure out which markers came from each parent and therefore which copy of the gene came from each parent, which then allows us to look for those same markers in embryo samples. It's like a gene barcode. And then we can say this is the good copy of the gene or this is the bad copy of the gene, basically. Did it get the copy from quote-unquote grandpa or quote-unquote grandma? really is what we're looking for.
Right.
Because grandma's genes don't have these mutations. And that's what we'd be doing. Do you think his parents are willing to participate in this process by providing a sample of DNA by cheek breast swab?
Oh, yeah, 100%. They're up for it.
Okay. Okay. We would also need his dad's genetic testing records to be able to use him as the other positive reference, so the other person in the family who has the mutation, so that we know for sure our record-wise, our lab says, yeah, we've got a record, it comes from dad, we're calling that gene the bad one.
Okay.
Also available. Sounds like that's possible.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay, all right, fantastic. So I'll include that in the email just as a reminder to say, hey, we need these records. But we can, once we get the records, we're able to send out the DNA to collect from the family. We need you as well because the embryos are yours. So we just want to make sure they receive copies of all the genes from you. But we're not worried about which one, obviously, is there.
Okay.
So we need 4 people, you and Jason, and then Jason's parents.
All right. That's fine.
Okay. Now, do his parents live near you? So would we be shipping all 4 of these collection kits to one address, or would we be shipping them to 2 separate addresses?
It would be separate addresses, but I don't know that I have theirs on hand at the moment.
Okay, that's okay. You can write it back to the email. So
Okay.
That's fine. Okay, so just a couple of other questions here to close off the family history. What is your ethnic background, Amber?
I'm Caucasian and Native American.
Okay. And Jason?
He is Caucasian.
Any Ashkenazi Jewish ancestry that you know of?
No.
Okay. All right. So for the 2 of you, is there any pregnancy history to report on either side, or will this is how you're building your family, no pregnancy histories to report?
Yeah, there's no pregnancy history for either of us.
Okay. And any reproductive issues that you are aware of that may affect the number of samples you'd be sending to us?
Yeah, I don't know about that it would affect the number of samples necessarily. We're still waiting for Jason's semen analysis, but I know that I have the black tubes for sure, and that might impact things, I've been told, so.
Okay. All right. Just a couple of other questions here. I know we've got 2 genetic disorders in the family we're talking about. Are there any that we haven't discussed that you're worried about? Anything else that you know of in the family, genetic-wise?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. And any other major medical issues or complications that you're concerned about?
No.
Okay. And last question we ask everybody, any possibility the 2 of you are related by blood?
No.
That's the usual response I get, but we still ask everybody to take even if it's super unlikely.
Okay.
Have it. The genetics that, assisted with the testing and explain inheritance patterns and all that sort of stuff to them. They're hooked in for care. He said he's having a procedure today.
Yeah. Well, we were aware for, really Jason's whole life that he probably would have a FAP, and then when he was 12, they went ahead and did the surgery to take care of that, but we just found out about the BRCA2, and so the geneticist, when we did that testing, she kind of went over that information with Jason of what that looks like and what some of the issues are with that.
Okay. No, I'm glad you've got somebody there who reviewed that information for you. That's good. Okay. So a little bit more onto sort of the test specifics now. So once we have the records and the DNA in the lab, we can start the test development. And that basically is what I said about the markers, to figure out the gene maps, which markers identify each copy of the gene so that we're able to report out on embryo status. That typically takes between 4 to 8 weeks when we're working with one disorder. So it may take, I would expect, closer to the 8 weeks. Hopefully not much more. If it does, might push into 9, just because we're doing 2 different genes and not one. Most families are coming in with one.
Okay.
So just to put that expectation out there. When we are done, when we start that process, we'll let you know in your clinic know that we're starting test development with an estimated date of completion. When we're done, we'll let you know in your clinic know that we're done and ready for embryo samples. When we get the embryo samples, the turnaround time on those is about 15 days. The results will go directly back to your clinic, and then you and your clinic together decide which embryos to transfer.
Okay.
So now some important numbers, since we're talking about several different conditions here. So the inheritance patterns for BRCA2 and the FAP are probably familiar as 50%. So there's a 50% chance any embryo is going to have the same mutation, and a 50% chance that it doesn't receive the mutation and is considered a normal or healthy embryo in regards to those disorders. When we're talking about the chromosome screening as well, so somebody who's 33, when we look at the chromosome, there are a couple of different possible results, because it's not just black and white anymore. So it's not just good and bad. There's something called mosaicism.
Right.
Did your clinic review that at all? It sounds like they reviewed a little bit of that with you then.
I've worked with a couple of clinics because we knew the PGD testing would be the biggest factor in all of this, and so I am kind of familiar with it. I've attended some seminars and I've done a lot of research, so yeah. Great. No, that's good. I like when it's not a surprise that you're sort of coming in with an understanding of everything. So for somebody who's 33 then, the breakdown that we expect to see based on women in the same age group is 50% chromosomally normal. We expect about 14% to be mosaics. That would be low or high level. Okay. And then about 36% is fully abnormal. Okay.
So there's the breakdown. So the mosaic category, as mentioned, can include low mosaics and high-level mosaics. So in all the pages of consent paperwork and stuff, the low-level mosaic is between 20 and 40% abnormal. So these were usually previously classified as euploid abnormal before we could stratify. So many clinics will still transfer these. They're just not as choice as the ones that are fully normal, which is less than 20% variation. 40 to 80% is our high-level mosaic category. So those were previously classified as abnormal, and now they get stratified into high-level mosaic. Some clinics will still transfer those. The outcome obviously isn't nearly as good as with a low-level mosaic or a normal euploid, but some clinics will, some won't. That's kind of something up to the clinic dependent if they will transfer that or not. But just letting you know, there's sort of four possible results: euploid, low-level mosaic, high-level mosaic, and euploid or abnormal.
Okay.
We can totally review this again when you get your results if you wanted to talk about it, but it'll be described on the results, what level they got.
Okay.
So when we put all of these numbers together, since we have the BRCA2, the FAP, and the chromosomes, there's 50% for the BRCA2, 50% from the APC. So the chance that it's affected by neither of those is 25%. Right. And then the 50% normal from the chromosome screen takes us to 12.5% is our suitable for transfer rate.
Okay.
So we've excluded the low-level mosaics. We're focused only on the normal euploids. So that's what we would be looking at. If you send in 10 would be 1. 1 to 2 maybe, depending. Now here's a big question for you, and every family's a little bit different. Would you transfer an embryo with a BRCA2 mutation?
Definitely not.
Okay.
My husband is pretty emphatic about that he doesn't want our children to have either of those genetic mutations, so.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. I know, obviously, the FAP is a much younger onset than the BRCA mutations. So some people are a little bit more lenient if that's their only choice than they would. I just wanted to make sure. So in that case, we would do the PGD testing first for the disorders, and anything that is affected, found to have either or both of these mutations, we would not look at the chromosomes for, since we're presuming you're not going to transfer them.
Okay.
You'd only get chromosome information if it has neither mutation.
Right.
left here. So a little bit left here. The PGD and PGS, they're both tools to reduce risk. We obviously can't eliminate genetic risk.
Right.
The accuracy of PGD, greater than 95%, probably closer to 98%. In the PGS, accuracy is a little bit less than 100, around 97%.
Okay.
So because we cannot provide 100% accuracy, we do recommend prenatal diagnostic testing on all established pregnancies to confirm genetic status of the fetus. And that's either a CVS or an amniocentesis. I'm not sure if you're familiar with either of those procedures, but they're considered diagnostic. And they would let you know for sure if the pregnancy has either of these mutations. Completely optional. It would be ordered by whoever is following your pregnancy. We don't do that testing. We can't order it for you.
Okay.
We just have to recommend it. And of course, last but not least, there's no guarantee that we're able to ensure embryos that are suitable for transfer.
Right.
So we'll test what we receive, we'll report on them what we find, but we can't change the status of anything.
Okay.
Yeah. And do you have any other questions, Amber? I've covered everything I need to on this end.
No, I don't think so. I think that you answered all of my questions, as far as that goes.
Okay, perfect. Got that. So with the cheek brush kit, super easy to do. They'll come in a FedEx package. We send them FedEx ground. They're in a regular FedEx kind of bag. Inside the form to fill out, please make sure you fill it out, send it back. Make sure your in-laws do it too, because they'll have their own form with their package.
Okay.
Fill out the form, send it back with the cheek brushes. If there's any problem with them, like they've leaked or something, let us know. We can send you new ones. And just make sure the tubes are labeled with the name and the date of birth legibly, because we have to be able to read them to properly accession them.
Okay.
Back at the lab. And then make sure your in-laws do it too, because they'll have their own form with their package.
Okay.
Fill out the form, send it back with the cheek brushes. If there's any problem with them, like they've leaked or something, let us know. We can send you new ones. And just make sure the tubes are labeled with the name and the date of birth legibly, because we have to be able to read them to properly accession them.
Okay.
Back at the, and that's really good. You'll get the prepaid waybill, so just change the labels, throw it back in a FedEx bag, and ship it to us.
Okay.
Super easy. And it'll come with rations. So you shouldn't have to worry about your in-laws either. They can brush their teeth. They can do this. It's very easy.
Okay, good.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, well, do I need to take it to my doctor's office or something? I'm like, no, it's a giant Q-tip and you're going to squish it in your mouth. It's really not that hard. So
Okay.
most people have no problems. The vast majority, no problems. All right. Great. Well, I am finished my side. I'm glad I was able to get you today. And if Jason has any questions, because I'm sharing that email with you later today, he can always write back to that or give me a call if he wants to review anything.
Okay.
Otherwise, my next contact will probably be to let you know that cheek brushes are being shipped once we receive that record, and then to let you know that we started test development.
Okay. So, as you can see from the video, if you watched the whole thing, there was a lot of information that was given, and I won't kind of take too long just because this video is long enough already, but so basically the next steps were that we needed to email or send in records from my father-in-law's genetic testing that he had done, and provide her with their dates of birth and their address so she could mail them out a swab kit. Which I sent that stuff over to her on Saturday, and I called this morning and they said they have it in there. So I'm just waiting for the notification that they are sending out the swab kits. So once they send out the kits, there will be a kit that goes to my mother and father-in-law, and then a kit that comes to Jason and I, and we will do like a cheek swab thing, I guess, and then send that information, that package back to them once that's been completed. And then from there, they will notify us when they receive the samples and they kind of start doing the preliminary report or whatever. Timeline, as far as that goes, from the time they get the tests back the swab kits, I should say, from the time they get those back until they are ready to receive samples, it will be 8 weeks. So once they notify us that they are ready, then they'll send us something, and they'll send the clinic something letting us know that they're ready for embryos. And at that point we can start stems and start IVF. So that's like 2 months, guys. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I'll go through all of this in another video and kind of digesting it with you all, but I really want to keep this short and no side tangents. So 8 weeks from when they get the kits back until the test is ready and we can start stems. Once we go through stems and they have the embryos biopsied and those go off to the lab to be tested, it will take about 15 days, she said, at that point until we have the results of the embryos back. So that's relatively quick, especially compared to the, 8 weeks or whatever. And I for some reason was thinking it would be like a month. And so 2 weeks is much more doable as far as waiting goes, because I know that I will be impatient wanting to know those results. So here is the breakdown. I'm going to try and see if I can remember this correctly. So for a woman age 33, so we're doing PGD and PGS testing. PGD first is the first test that they are going to do. And so they will run the FAP and the BRCA2 mutation testing first. And the way that is expected to break down is out of the embryos that they biopsy, there should be 50% that they're expecting that will have both genetic mutations. Yes, I think. Or no, 25%. Sorry. 25% will have both. 25% will have just the FAP. 25% will have just the BRCA2, and then 25% they expect will be normal. As far as the PGS testing goes, due to my age and being a 33-year-old female at the time of retrieval, what they are expecting is that there will be 50% of the embryos will be normal. 14% they expect to be mosaic, which means basically, very quick synopsis is when they sample the outer ring of the embryo, sometimes there's different cells, and some cells may be normal, some cells may be abnormal. And so a mosaic one presents as both, and it's kind of like a mixed diagnosis is the way that I understand it anyways. I could be wrong, so do your own research, but that's kind of what I'm understanding from the way it's been explained to me. So 14% will be mosaic. 36% will be aneuploid, meaning that there's a definite chromosomal issue. For mosaic, they break that down into 2 categories, high mosaic and low mosaic. So low mosaic is the better of the 2 options, which again, the way I understand it is that it leans more towards the non-aneuploid, or euploid is what it's called. So euploid, meaning that everything looks good. Low mosaic means that it leans in that direction, but it still has both. Those can go either way, as far as like how it's impacted over the course of the development of the embryo and baby. And then there's high mosaic. And those ones are much less ideal, much less likely to be viable and have more likely to have other issues and things. So for the low mosaic, they expect it to be 20 to 40%. That would be low mosaic. And then the remaining 60 to 80% would be high mosaic. So they will be doing the PGD testing first, then PGS. And they're only going to do PGS on the ones that tested negative for the BRCA2 and the FAP. So that's kind of where we're at with everything. I know this was a whole lot of information, and I really tried to kind of cut out unnecessary parts of the phone call just because I didn't want you to have to listen to a 35-minute phone call. But so much of it was really helpful information, I thought, so I wanted to keep that in the video so that way other people that are considering going through PGD or PGS testing have that information. I think that that's a really helpful resource, and I know it would have been for me, and I think my hope is that it will be for you too. So thanks for following my journey. If you liked this video, if it was at all helpful for you, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and you'll get future updates. I'm really going to try and keep the updates consistent from this point forward, just because now that we're actually getting into the nitty-gritty of IVF. I also plan to post another video later this week or beginning of next week, updating on some of the other things, kind of like how I'm processing after the PGD consultation and how we're doing with weight loss and eating healthy and all of that stuff. I want to keep y'all in the loop, so hit the subscribe button and you'll get alerts to all of those videos when they do pop up. In the meantime, you should also make sure that you're following me on Instagram at Infertility and Beyond, because I post there more consistently and you'll get some of the little nuanced moments from day to day that you don't necessarily get in a YouTube video. So I hope y'all are having a great day. Thanks for sticking with me through this very long video, and I hope that you guys have a great day. I will chat with you soon. Bye.